What is going on with the Diddy trial? It looks like they are trying maneuvers in and out of the courtroom, and Judge Aaron is not going on for it. If you guys don't know, Judge Aaron just made a surprise drop and he did a notice that had a lot of people scratching their heads. But baby, I've talked to my legal analysis friends and we have the breakdown. But let's get into it. Judge Aaron talked about the jury, and people are saying that D is sending a sign to Diddy's team about you not trying this. This looks like unless Trump ends up pardoning Diddy, and it don't look like Trump's pardoning him. Diddy is done for, and Judge Aaron is closing up all the legal loopholes that he could use to get out. Okay, so what was the order he dated this? He said the court ordered that the jury in this case be kept anonymous to the public and partially sequestered. And further into that order, the court directed the clerk of court to provide the impaneled jurors with transportation from the courthouse at 500 Pearl Street after the conclusion of jury deliberations. This
Present,
order
and no
memorializes
longer
that
has a
direction and
voice who will
constitutes
pursue
a
justice
non-proton
for her
order of the court.
accusation.
It was so ordered.
As
You
of the
guys,
taken
why is
against
this
Diddy,
so? Why is
no
this so
expansion of the
devastating in
investigation,
Diddy's team, but
no
good for our
isolation
team
orders,
and showing that
no
this
equipment
sitting is
access,
not going to go
no
the way
suspension
Diddy
of attorney
thinks. Time served
communication.
my listen. Let's get into this because there's so much to actually look at. Hold on really quick. Okay, so for those of you guys wondering what the hell, why would Judge Aaron issue this order now? Because legal experts are saying that Judge Aaron is closing the appeal loophole. They're saying Diddy's team is going to argue that the verdict should be tossed because jurors were tainted, pressured, or improperly handled. Now, let me just say this, right? Those jurors on the Diddy trial, I believe in my heart, I think that they let him off because of his celebrity, because nothing else makes sense, okay, in my mind. But even if they didn't, Diddy got away with RICO in my mind. He got away with the SMEX trafficking. They convicted him on 2 counts of the Mann Act based off of testimony, and this is what I mean about Diddy and the people that support him. You don't want to be held accountable for anything they did, because now, even though the jury gave you a slap on the wrist, you are now saying that the jury was somehow or implying that the verdict should be tossed because jurors were tainted, pressured, or improperly handled. By the way, Judge Aaron also said they got till September 3rd, and after September 3rd, he don't want to hear nothing else about this mess. Oh, Diddy, you better count your days. They also said if they're also hoping that if the record looks sloppy, for example, if sequestering or in being anonymous weren't formally ordered, the defense could claim the jury wasn't adequately protected, which compromised their impartiality, and we need a new trial. This news, what is it, neck pro? We'll call it a neck of you buck order, retroactively patches up that hole, saying we did order all the necessary protections. They were in fact in place, and I'm now just formalizing it. So it's basically retroactive. It's saying I did this and I didn't formally put it on the record, but all these protocols were followed and now I'm putting on the record. So what's your problem? It's not grounds for appeal. Now get this right. On top of that, let's be real. The actual escorts actually testified this, and Clayton Howard, whatever the sap his name is, right? Looking like he needed chapstick, lotion, Nivea, and some Dove body wash all at the same time. He was the one that actually didn't he write a whole book or say he was writing a book or said that he was part of it and what happened in the Smacks work and how he's hired? There's so many people admitting that Diddy liked to use prostitutes. It's not my fault. People think that it's not illegal anyway, right? Also, they're saying the judges doing this to protect jurors even after the verdict. They said these jurors just convicted one of the most powerful and notorious figures in music. One of the would have been powerful. Even after being discharged, they could face harassment, stalking, or threats. Who is harassing, stalking, or threatening those jurors? If you are, you need to stop by memorializing transport and by memorializing the fact that they did use transport and they made sure the jurors remain anonymous. The judges covering the court's duty of care, making sure jurors can't say later, we were left exposed and unprotected after the verdict. That's important in case case jurors themselves are dragged into appeals or media scrutiny. Come through, Judge Aaron, and protect. But there's more. Now there are possible angles. Diddy's lawyers will likely argue jury misconduct or prejudice in their Rule 33 motion for a new trial. Okay, so let's get into the possible claims that saucers are saying that Diddy's team is trying to use to get a new trial or the jury verdict thrown out. And listen, do I blame them for trying? No. Look at what that dumb jury did with Mark Agnello talking
Present,
about it was
and
a
no
modern-day
longer
love
has a
story,
voice
and
who
he
will
got
pursue
paid.
justice for
Cassie
her
was a
accusation.
wild girl. Media
As of the taken
contamination.
against
They
Diddy,
could argue jurors
no
were
expansion
exposed
of
to
the
wall-to-wall
investigation,
media coverage
no
and couldn't
isolation
fairly
orders,
deliberate. The
no
judge has
equipment
basically
access,
destroyed all
no
that with this
suspension of
order,
attorney
saying
communication.
they were anonymous, they were partially sequestered, and they were shielded. Fear and corrosion is another argument they're trying to make. The defense might say jurors felt intimidated by security measures, publicity, or fear of retaliation, and that influenced their guilty verdict. This order reframes those protections as supportive, not coercive. and they could argue improper handling by the if the defense could show the court failed to issue a formal order at the right time. They argue that jurors weren't legally sequestered. However, this new order that this judge just issued, and again, it was just formalizing something that was actually that already happened, that wipes that off the table by making the protections officials as if they had always been in. So, what is the bottom line or the takeaway from every legal analysis I've talked to? Yes, the jury was released after the July 3rd, 4th, whatever it happened on the verdict. Okay, so this isn't saying, oh, the jurors are somehow still being protected. However, this late August order is about protecting the verdict from attack. The judge knows Diddy's team will try to exploit any procedural slip up around the jury. So he's back filing the record. In plain English, Judge Arun is saying, Diddy, don't even try. This jury was protected the whole way, and now I firmly put it into writing. Y'all listen. What y'all think about this? All right, keep in mind that the nuck if you buck. Okay, it's in N pro. Whatever. I don't speak Latin. Y'all could if you. I took it in high school, but no, I'm not bothering. Right, that is backdating. Okay. Again, the judge is memorializing protections that were already in place before deliberations, but it hadn't been formally written down. By issuing this now, the judge is locking in the record for appeal. So Diddy's team can't argue jurors weren't lawfully protected, and it's making sure jurors are still covered legally and logistically until everything is done. You guys, what do y'all think about this? I do know that Diddy thought he was going to get that pardon. It doesn't look like it's come. They are grasping at straws. They are doing everything. And do I blame them? No. Well, because they're getting paid millions to sell their soul. Right. Again, if you look at it as it is just like a football game, who got who, instead of letting who I believe is a dangerous person out into the general public, we can say whatever. But it looks like Judge Arun is actually tightening up. On top of that, Diddy is looking closely at Drew Dixon's case against LA Reid is now going pro se and saying he doesn't have money to pay his lawyer. People are saying that as far as not this, but what if Judge Arun does give him a significant amount of time? Diddy is going to try to do the LA Reid thing and say, oh my God, I don't have any money, so I can't even pay any of these civil cases. And if you are looking for a civil case, don't bother. There's no money here. The only problem with that is I don't think it's going to work for LA Reid. So I don't think Diddy's going to be able to take that. Now, why don't I think this is going to work for LA Reid? Well, for a number of reasons. Drew Dixon's has LA Reid dead to everybody wanted to see what it looked like to be like on top of an industry and really running things and be harassed, and you do the moral thing and you walk away. That's what Drew Dixon actually did. She walked away, but she wants to be compensated with commissions and for being harassed. Commissions on what she bought John Legend and Kanye West and LA Reid just to be a DIC to her because he couldn't have his way with her. He was like, no, 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 I'm gonna pass. She wants money for lost commissions. Okay, but getting back into Drew Dixon and the LA Reid thing. LA Reid is saying he's broke. Drew Dixon's lawyer is Virginia Guy's lawyer. Yeah, they got the Jeffrey Epstein saying Maxwell settlement for Virginia Guy. That's how airtight this the evidence is with Drew Dixon. Again, keep your eye on every. We are going to go live, of course, tomorrow morning to talk about Diddy. I'm going to try to go tonight to talk about Raven Simone. She's been acting up on the gram. But getting back to what I was saying, right? Yeah, I don't think the sentencing is going to go the way Diddy and all his supporters want it to go. I know one of his biggest supporters, they say, are in jail right now, and let's see how it goes when their king gets there too. What do y'all think about the judge protecting the record retroactively? Again, it seems like Judge Arun is literally going to serve justice to Diddy. The only question is how many years, because the prosecution said they are suggesting way more than the 4 to 5 original years. Again, Judge Arun said anything dealing with the appeal or overturning, no, the appeal or the verdict. A new trial should be in by September 3rd. And after September 3rd, he is no longer considering anything that comes in after that. Anyway, you guys, we are going to see what happens. Let me know with the comments. I'll talk to y'all later.